This feels very odd to be doing this video for a plethora of reasons, but I think the main reason being is I didn't know Twitch. I didn't know Twitch's story, what his struggles were. I don't know anything about him other than what we were told in the media, and so a part of me feels like it's a little wrong to be making a video about this or to be speaking in honor of him, but this is personal, and I don't know, I just felt like this is something that I really needed to do. Hearing about what happened to him touched me, and while I tried to avoid it at all costs, you know, I didn't want to watch anybody's video talking about him. I didn't want to watch anything talking about him. But last week I was watching a video by OhStephCo where she spoke about Twitch, and it brought me to tears, and I think her video was like conviction and confirmation that I needed to sit down and speak about this, speak about how this topic touches me personally. And I'm afraid to talk about it. I'm afraid to do this because I don't want to really cry on camera, and I know this is a very sensitive subject, but I feel like I need to do this. But let me stop rambling because that's what I have a tendency to do. So let's just get into it. Today, we see people on television, specifically on social media, because that's the main scope in which we see a lot of people's lives, and we assume that we know them. We think because a person lives a glamorous life online that everything is in fact glamorous. Despite popular belief in the current desire for fame and money and popularity and notoriety, monetary items and tangible items don't really provide you with a lot of personal joy. They're nice for the moment, but having those items does not determine whether or not internally you are battling any mental health issues or any struggles or anything like that. In case we didn't know, social media is fake, and people are only showing us a glimpse of what they want us to see on social media and online. They show us the trips and they show us the Fendis and the Balenciagas and all of this stuff, but we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. And you would assume that in 2022 we would know this, but you would be surprised by how many people actually think that what they see online is reality. Because of what they see online, they take that to mean that this person is living a perfect life. I say this acknowledging the fact that I am one of those people. For many years, I sat comparing myself to other people because I saw what was online. I saw how well other people dressed and how much money it looked like they made and how perfect their relationships appeared to be. And I took that to mean that my life was somehow lacking and I needed to have what they had. But again, we're only catching a segment of what somebody chooses to show us online. We will never truly know unless that person comes out and tells us what's really going on in their life. I remember earlier this year when there was this whole discourse about black girl luxury. There were a lot of people who were like, just let black women enjoy themselves. I just want to see black women thriving and da-da-da-da-da. While I agree with that sentiment 110%, there was a video by Kimberly Nicole Foster, who I feel like I am always quoting on my channel, that I think was titled, "Black Women Need More Than Luxury." Now, as we all know, a couple of weeks ago we heard about the tragic passing of Stephen Laurel Twitch Boss. And when I first heard about it, I was kind of in shock, because it's always like very hard to believe, especially when someone's so young like him. He was 40 years old when he passed. So you're always like, that didn't really happen. And then when I looked into it further, I read further into the article that I saw, I heard how he passed. That did something to me. Now, obviously, I think I say this all the time, who am I? Who cares that the passing of Twitch affected me? I'm just a random stranger on the internet who makes videos. But it did affect me. Hearing about his passing made me have to relive or think about my history with the subject matter. Now, you haven't seen this yet, but a couple of weeks ago, I vlogged me getting my first tattoos. I've wanted these tattoos for years, but I was always afraid. I don't know, turning 35, I was just like, I want to do it. And after getting the tattoos, I sat on this floor right here, and I explained what these tattoos mean to me. What this means, but specifically what this means. Project Semicolon states on their website, a semicolon is used when an author could have chosen to end their sentence, but chose not to. The author is you, the sentence is your life. P.S. Your story isn't over. Essentially, one of the main reasons why someone would choose to get a semicolon tattoo is to stand in support or to honor those individuals who have been affected by mental health, suicide, addiction, or to some people it is a cool looking tattoo. It's like, oh, it's cool, and there are so many different designs that you can get with it. But for a lot of people, specifically for me, it's not just a cool tattoo. It is more than just a visual representation. For some people, it is a conversation starter. Ironically enough, though, I don't necessarily like talking about why I got my tattoo. The reason I got it was to honor my nephew, my young nephew, who life 5 years ago. That crushed our family, as to be expected. You see this stuff on TV and you're just like, oh, you know, I'll never be affected by this. You know, you live in this bubble and you're just like, no, my family's too strong for something like this to happen. This could never happen to us. You know, we also sometimes as Black people, we also like to say things like this don't happen to us because we're Black people. This isn't Black people issues. And then when it happens to you, you're like, whoa, hit with this wave of reality that's like, this is real life. It can happen to you. I can think back to the day that it happened. I remember sitting at my desk preparing to leave for a work event with my coworkers, and I was working because I was trying to finalize some things, and my mom just kept calling me, and I was like, Mom, I'm working. And after like the third call, I was like, it must be urgent. There was a tone to my mother's voice that I'd never heard before, and it scared me. So then to hear what happened, my first thought is him. I drop everything, I turn my computer off, and I run out to go pick up my big sister to go to the hospital. It's like so surreal. I don't even know how to describe it. And I see myself there with my family and just how everybody was like, over the years, we've heard about a few notable individuals that have passed in this way. Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, the YouTuber Atika, Jason David Frank, which was recent, but the one that struck or hit me the most was Chesley Christ. I remember watching someone's video about her and just sobbing. It affected me for a couple of days because when I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. She looks like she's so happy. She looks like she's so on top of the world. But she was battling with severe depression, and she didn't feel comfortable enough to talk to anybody in her life about what was going on with her. Mental health is one of those things that span racial, political, cultural, spiritual, and financial lines. It does not discriminate. So imagine me getting this tattoo that has such a powerful meaning to me, and I have this overwhelming connection and emotion to it, and then not days later I hear about the passing of Twitch and the manner in which he passed. And I feel like it just forced me to come face to face with the reality of it all over again. We saw him on TV. Everyone that has talked about him thus far has said that he was living a life that most of us could have only dreamed of. He lived a life that I dream of. I remember him. I was a fan of his during his time on So You Think You Can Dance. I wanted him to win. I think I maybe even have voted for him when he was on So You Think You Can Dance. So a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting there watching Hairspray, and I caught a glimpse of him at the end of the movie. After hearing about his passing, I saw a wave of social media posts saying things like, check on your strong friends, and you never know what someone's going through, and you know what people typically say when stuff like this, unfortunate things like this happen. And it's true. The thing that bothered me though is that I don't think that our actions always line up with what we say. We are so hard today that just expressing yourself on social media, you can get berated by family, friends, and strangers all in your comments telling you, you have so much to live for. You have no reason to be sad. What you got to be sad for? What reason do you have to be sad? And I think a lot of people don't realize that times are different with financial struggles, with relationship struggles and health struggles. We're literally still in a panini. There is so much going on that people have a reason to be sad. It is not beneficial to have somebody tell you you don't have a reason to be sad when the evidence that you're seeing is telling you otherwise. Nobody that is dealing with depression or anxiety wants to hear, especially the people that love them, you don't have a reason to be depressed. That's the last thing they want to hear. So we say stuff like, check on your strong friend. But the minute one of our strong friends or the minute one of our strong family members comes to us with worries, with a problem, the minute a strong friend I knew this video was going to be hard to get through. So we say check on our strong friends, but the minute one of our strong friends or family members comes to us with their worries or their struggles, we are incapable of empathizing or sympathizing with them. Or we end up invalidating their experience and their feelings and doing more harm to them than good. The intentions may be pure. I get that. People are left to feel like they should have just kept their mouth shut. God forbid something tragic happens. And then we're all left wondering, like, why? How could this have happened? What did I miss? And I want to be clear, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying it's that person's fault or anybody's fault. I'm just saying that sometimes our actions don't line up with our words, which I guess is normal because we're humans. But sometimes we have to realize that there are actual human beings on the other end of our behaviors and our actions. And those actions and behaviors have real life, real world consequences. I think a perfect example of this is what we just recently found out about Meg Thee Stallion following her shooting. She has stated that the wave of negative comments that she has received has affected her mental health, and how she has had those kind of thoughts as a result of what has happened. With all the negative comments she's getting and everyone that's berating her and degrading her, would we be saying all of these things? And I say we because we are a society. Would we as a community be saying these harsh things if she had followed through on those thoughts? There are real life implications to the harsh and hurtful things that we do, not just in our real lives, but on social media. So what would we be saying today if, God forbid, she chose to do that? Just something to think about. Most of us see someone like Twitch, and the main question we want to ask is why? Why could someone who appeared to have it all feel such darkness that the only resolution for them was to harm themselves? My why is a little different though. Why does a nation like the United States treat mental health like it's taboo, like it doesn't exist? Why are we not doing more as a country to ensure that everyone has access to affordable access, if not free access, to good, sustainable mental health care? Why are our citizens and our families and our friends and our neighbors and our icons passing away from something that is so common, and yet we treat it like it's a rarity? When people were passing away due to drug use, the government got on top of it and took care of it, but this, not so much. Mental health is used as a talking point, but no real work, no real active work gets done politically to help those in need. I want to jump in for a brief second also and say that we also judge people and call them weak when they are very open and transparent about their mental health struggles. People might call me weak for even posting this video. And don't let a man open up about his battle with his mental health. He's a soy boy. We judge people for being open about the things that we're too afraid to speak about. Why do we do this? I feel so personal about this because at one point in my life, I battled with my own existence. Why am I here? And I know that for some people it might be like, Shelby felt that way? Yes, I felt that way. There was a point in my life where everything just felt dark. I wasn't happy. There were days when I hated getting out of bed. There was a point where my affect was even different, to the point where the people that are closest to me could even tell. I was mean, I was cold. And when I reflect on it, I spent so many years being hurt by people. So I asked myself, like, if this is all there is to life, is pain and heartache and sadness and depression and darkness, then what am I here for? And I say that transparently as a Christian woman who believes in God and who values her relationship with God. Listen, I pray, I read the Bible, I worship God, I have a very close relationship with the Lord. And I believe that when you're in dark times, it is vital to seek the face of God. But sometimes we got to do more. Scripture says it. Faith without works is dead. My mother said to me recently that I'm always trying to push people to get therapy. And I am. If you're seeking God's face and you're praying and you're fasting and you're reading scripture and you're worshiping God, but you still feel like none of that is working, then maybe you need to speak to somebody that you can talk to while also spiritually seeking the face of God and his guidance to get through this dark time as well. I've heard many people say things along the lines of, you're not supposed to talk to a therapist about X, Y, and Z. That's why people are hurting. And so as my friend or family member or loved one, if I can't talk to you, what the heck am I supposed to talk to? I went to therapy and go to therapy for many reasons. And one of the reasons was I wanted to change the way that I thought about myself. I did not love myself, and I wanted to learn how to love myself. And I wanted to learn how to be kind to myself, despite all the evidence telling me that I was unlovable, or that I'm unlikable, and that I'm not worthy of being loved or treated with kindness. And I'm telling you the truth, I would not trade the past 2 years of therapy for anything. And while I'm not 100%, I'm sitting here today doing things that I was afraid to do. I would never sit down in front of this camera or pick my camera up and vlog. I would never openly go out and audition for shows. I was afraid to put myself out there because I felt like anything good that came to me, I didn't deserve. To summarize, we need to be there. We need to be present. Don't try to solve someone else's problems, but be a support to them. Don't try to talk over someone about their feelings, but listen. And if talking isn't your thing, that's cool. Show up for them. Take them to dinner. Go for a picnic in the park. Go to a museum. Go to an amusement park. And let me not mince words. It can be very hard to support someone in this journey of mental wellness. I put to you to not neglect yourself. Be sure you are constantly trying and constantly showing up and feeding yourself while you're also feeding somebody else or trying to feed and pour into somebody else. The reason that I made Love Smiles Passion, this YouTube channel, was for me because it's something I always wanted to do, but I also wanted to help people. I'm working on my book because I wanted to help people with my story, because I know that what I went through wasn't just for me. And so if by opening up about my story, I could possibly help somebody else, I could possibly save a life, I could possibly give somebody hope, then that makes it all worth it. The unfortunate fact about life, though, is we may still lose loved ones in this manner, because even when they have the best support system, it still isn't enough. And I want to say this to you: if you're struggling with your mental health, know that you have a friend in me who loves you, someone who is praying for you and who wants the best for you. Now, I may never meet you, I may never say your name, I may never touch you, but know that there is somebody out there in this world that is rooting for you and that wants you to win. I see value in you. Hezekiah Walker has a song that says, "You are important to me. I need you to survive." I believe that God exists. If God, who created gazillion, bajillion, a million, quadrillion people on this earth, the people that have walked this earth and will walk this earth, he still decided to make you. So that means to me that you are important and that you are loved and that you matter. And you may not see it today, but I pray that one day you will. I got this tattoo for my nephew, but I got this tattoo for everyone who is struggling with their mental health. I got it for you. I got it for me. I stand in solidarity with you. And I love you. My heart goes out to Twitch's family, to his wife and his children, his parents. I'm in love with my boyfriend, and I couldn't even imagine losing my soulmate, and then losing my soulmate in the manner in which she did. I could imagine the pain that she's going through right now. Moreover, I pray for his children who will have to grow up without their father. They will always have this reminder around the holiday season of his passing. My heart goes out to them, and I will pray for them, that God grants them joy and peace. And I pray that in the days and months and years to come, that we continue to remember them. It's more than just the social media posts after it happens. It takes work to build a community around someone and around people who have lost their loved ones in this manner. Yeah, it's just hard. But until we get to a place in society where this is no longer prevalent, I just pray that we can be support and show love. I just want people to feel love, and I just want people to know that they are loved. Today's outro hits differently. Today's video, it just like, it means a lot to say it. So until next time, give love, don't forget to smile, and remember to always live your passion. Smooches.